For this video, I'm asking the pretty simple question of who are the top 5 best players in the NAL. So, basically in North America, you could say. But I suppose answering it is not very simple, very hard to do. So right here, I have SiegedGG ratings, which do a fair job of assessing how well a player did, but it doesn't take into account support stats too well. Of course, doesn't take in consideration things like IGLing or comms, callouts, mental, any of that. So there's probably better representations, but this is probably the best thing I have full access to consistently for all the players and everything. So I have 15 players here that I picked out from the NAL, and it's most of the top 15 highest rated players from NAL Stage 2, and I threw DP Fire on there. He was in the top 15 highest rated players, but he didn't play at any of these other things. So we have the Mexico Major, most recent, NAL Stage 2, most recent before that, and then there's SI 2021, and then there's NAL Stage 1 before that even. So they go backwards. The only consistent thing we have is NAL Stage 2 for every player, but most of these players went to the Mexico Major, and actually no, they all played in NAL Stage 1 except for DP Fire, so that's consistent as well. And then SI 2021, 10 of the 15 players played in. So let's just look at it here. We have so I averaged them all out too, and I was thinking about doing a weighted average, but I couldn't decide on values for each of them, and also it wouldn't be fully consistent because some players are missing some events, although it is like 9 of the players do have played in all 4 things. So if I could have come up with the numbers, I would have done it, but I don't know, like do you weigh Mexico Major most because it's the most recent, but probably NAL Stage 2 is the most recent because everyone's played at it, and it's regional and all this stuff. So anyways, I didn't do weighted average, but I did regular average. So I sorted them by average, and you can see the order. I originally had them ordered by NAL Stage 2, but I decided to go with average instead. So let's start with hot and okay. Maybe I should work my way up and just start eliminating players, because I do have 15 players here I'm considering and only narrowing it down to 5. So we'll start at the bottom. NJR, you can see he's improved. He struggled a little bit at SI, but so a lot of these stats, it's a little bit hard to consider individually things, because if your whole team, if your team's getting destroyed, it's probably going to bring down your rating even possibly disproportionately compared to your personal performance, how well you should be doing, anything like that. So keep things like this in mind, like say TSM at the Mexico Major, they had to play with Pojo Man instead of Merc on only a few days notice, and Pojo Man's great and everything, but they just weren't prepared to do it, and so it brought the entire team down. So I have like Achieved and Bolo here, and this is going to bring down the rating somewhat, but of course it's really hard to factor that in numerically. Just keep things like that in mind. So NJR, I mean, he's mostly on here for his incredible performance at the Mexico Major. I think if you watch one of the previous videos where I was talking about it, I was going over how I thought it was like the best single map performance of any player ever. What he did against G2 in their first game, it was great. But besides that, I mean, 1.1 solid, and then just not very good obviously, but 3 positive ratings and 1 negative rating. But I guess it brings him down quite a bit, because the average is just over 1. So we're going to eliminate NJR. I mean, I guess it's like an X or something. Achieved probably just barely scrapes his way on the list, because if you're going off NAL Stage 2, you can see he's way worse than everyone else. But I think there is something to be said for the fact that he has been fairly consistent. I mean, he's averaged a little bit over 1 rating. Maybe consistent's not the right word, because these are right. So I mean, this is like these two values are fairly close to this. Like they're both 0.04 off, and they're both close to 1. But this is pretty poor, and this is it's fairly poor, and this is pretty good. So I don't know, consistent if you want to call it that. But yeah, something to be said, I think, for the fact that Achieved is, I believe, their primary IGL. I don't know if they do the 2-man IGLing thing that a lot of teams do. Like I mean, I assume other players are calling things, but I don't know if to the extent of IGL. Like maybe Geo is co-IGL. I don't know. Like maybe Bolo. I don't think it's Merc. Maybe I don't know. But as far as I understand it, Achieved is their primary IGL. I've been impressed by his play for a long time. and I thought he should be considered, but I think he's clearly not top 5. Eclipse, also pretty consistent as well. I mean, with these 2 ratings being exactly the same and then another positive rating. Although SI, much like, I mean, the rest of his team, like Dark Zero just didn't do very good at SI. Brings down his personal rating, of course. 1.04. He was one of the, I think, top 5. Maybe he was like top 3. I don't remember who were for the. I think he might have been 4th, because I think it was like Grixer, Hot and Cold, Shuttle Eclipse, or something like that. He was top 5 anyways. And then, you know, good. And he switched roles in this time. I think Eclipse is just a pretty timeless, solid player. If he keeps on the up and up, which, I mean, technically he's not on the up and up because his best rating is way back here, but then he did bad, and then he has had 2 pretty solid ratings. Considering he's not on like primary entry, he was on Flank Watch here. I assume this was still Flank Watch, and then NAL Stage 2. I think he's been on the Sledge role here, and so he's kind of been on entry, but I don't think like primary entry. So we'll eliminate Eclipse here. Chala, probably top 2 support players in NAL, with the other one being right here, Bosco. Yeah, Chala just super clutch. You know, also probably top 2 clutch players along with Bosco in the NAL, but just really good player. NAL Stage 1, just you know, okay performance. Really good in Stage 2 though. I think he's top 5. I think that's what it is. And then these are just barely under 1. And again, you know, he's on like support or flank watch or whatever role he's playing at any given time. But you know, solid. Like I think highlighting certain players, you have to give them a little bit of a point boost when if they're not on entry roles. Like if they're not, you know, if they're not your on a fragging role, which Bosco and Chala certainly aren't. So I'm gonna eliminate Chala, but he's you know, he's very good. And Bosco, I'm gonna come back to this one because I think he might have a claim. He might be going for top 5. And then we're gonna look at Bolo. And so, right, maybe I'm gonna underrate Bolo here. I'm not sure. I don't think he's top 5, and I think a lot, you know, a lot of people are probably gonna put him like top 5 players in the world. And mechanically, just watching him play, he looks incredible. Obviously, his movement is fantastic. NAL Stage 1, his whole team kind of struggled. Like, I don't know what was going on with TSM there. They ended up in like 5th place, I want to say, 5th or 6th place. Just right in there with Dark Zero and Space Station, and Space Station was 7, so I can't remember 5 or 6 between DZ and TSM. And then Mexico Major struggled a little bit, and this is also, you know, like I was saying with TSM, probably can be forgiven, but he put up one of the best performances at SI of anyone, and certainly the best on his team. And of course, maybe SI should be a big factor because it's the most competitive tournament of the year. It's the biggest, it's the most important event, with what should be the best teams from the last year, and he did really well. And he did really well recently in Stage 2. So, you know, I'll leave him in here for now. We'll come back to it. Laxing is just another player that he's just been, well, if you want to talk about consistent, like these are very close numbers, you know, all within 0.05 range. And he didn't play at the Mexico Major, so, you know, hard to say. Oxygen did very well in Stage 1. They got 1st place. SI 2021, I think they got tied 5th, 6th place, and the 2nd highest North American team after TSM. And then Stage 2, Oxygen didn't do very well as a team. They got 6th, I think, but Laxing 1.11 rating, which I think was the highest on his team. Definitely higher than Kino, Foxy. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was the highest on his team. And he's a solid player, just always been good at what he's done, the lurk, flank watch role, whatever. But I think I'm gonna eliminate him here. He's probably top 10, well, certainly top 15, I think, based on the fact that he's on this list. Like maybe a few of these players don't actually belong in top 15, but you know, I had to pick some 15 for the contest for top 5. Yeah, so Rampy is, I think, consistently, historically, one of the best players in the world. I think he was on CGG's top 10 players for the last 2 years. I think he ended up like 9th or 10th or something for this last one, and then like 2nd place the year before. And you know, good numbers here. Like nothing to sneeze at for sure. A little bit of a struggle at the Mexico Major. SSG as a whole didn't put up phenomenal stats. It was I think Hot and or was it, where's Bosco? Yeah, no, it was Bosco and then Hot and Cold were the only 2 positive. I think Rampy might have been, no, I don't know. It was Fultz or Rampy, but him and Fultz, Rampy, and Thinking It, I think all put up negative ratings at the Mexico Major. So Space Station could have done better. They were expected to do better. I mean, a lot of people thought they were going to win that tournament. I wanted them to win that tournament, and I thought they could have won that tournament, and they probably could have, but they tripped up somewhere along the way, unfortunately. So hard to say. It looks like he's been struggling slightly lately. I mean, well, and it's hard to really say struggle. 1.14 rating is obviously incredible, but I think he's only the 4th highest on his team. I think Thinking Nate has a like 1.07 or something, which he's above, but Boltz is higher, as you can see. Hot and Cold's higher, and Bosco is higher as well. So I'm gonna take Rampy out for now, but if he puts up a killer next stage, he might be right back in there. Yeah, it pains me a bit to take him out, but I'm gonna do it. Like, top 5 is, well, you know, there's 45 players in NAL, only 5 can make it in top 5, so it is competitive. Now it's, you know, we're in the top 7 of the original list I composed, so it's getting very, very contentious here. Who do I actually even want to eliminate here? So Fultz, I mean, his average is really high, 1.11. Struggled a little bit at the Mexico Major and at SI, so he's very good within NA. You know, what is this average of 1.18? Which has to be just like, what? Definitely top 5, I think, for NA, but not higher than like Grixer, Hot and Cold. Very good. Anyways, God, all right. So at this point, who am I gonna eliminate? I think I'm just gonna have to skip talking about some for a minute. So I think I'm taking J90 out. Really good numbers, and it's a little bit, and he's not on the fraggiest of roles, but he plays like Sledge, and I don't remember what on defense. I mean, everyone plays like a bunch of operators on defense for the most part, but he looks like he's looking like one of the better players. I mean, you know, 1.22 and 1.07, and I think he was even on more supporty roles in stage 1 than he was in stage 2. So I'm gonna take him out for now, but he is definitely he's definitely a really good up-and-comer. Having not that much experience under his belt, you know, he had NAL stage 2 and stage 1 for 2021, and then he also played in the 2020 season on the I can't remember if this is his first stage on Disrupt. He was a sub on the Sonics for 2020 for some amount, and he did okay there, I think. But yeah, no, J90, super solid player, but I don't think he's gonna make top 5. All right, so this puts us at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I gotta pick 8 of these. So I guess I'll just start picking 8 players that are in. I mean, you gotta give it to Hot and Cold. He's obviously top 5, like 1.28 average. Like, are you kidding me? Best performing player on his team at the Mexico Major, 1.07 is obviously a let down, coming off of 1.33 and 1.23, which was what, the highest in the league, and then like the 2nd highest in the league or something. Yeah, after Grixer, and this was like an astronomical performance. Obviously these 2 are the same, but in this stage there's 2 players tied at that point, and in this stage there's only the 1 player, and the next highest is 0.1 lower. That's insane. I don't think there's somebody that's not on this list that was in there. Or no, Shuttle. I think Shuttle's like below that. I think he's around like 1.16 or something, right around where Eclipse was. I think. Don't quote me. I don't really want to pull up the thing right now, but. So anyways, Hot and Cold in for sure. Like, you know, right now he might be top 5 players in the world. You know, you get up there with like Shaiko and Palu and some other guys, but Hot and Cold's been nothing but hot. He's insane. I think I'm gonna give it to Grixer as well. Like, it's Mexico Major, lackluster performance, and his whole team did poorly, with Rexon the only one positive, I think, and just barely so. But 1.18 and 1.33, like, it's hard to argue. In direct competition with anyone else on this list, he's putting up these kind of numbers. And he was still like the second highest on his team. Sonic's ratings were just pretty low. They did get kind of destroyed. But yeah, we're gonna have to put Grixer up there. Now, Rexon, I think, is one that's in question. So, I mean, 1.33, he tied for the highest rating in just the last stage played. But a 1.04 and a 1.04 they're solid, and they're consistently solid between the 2. He hasn't put up a negative rating performance in I mean, what is this? The last 6 months or something, because what, this was just ended, it was for 3 months, and then this was, yeah, 7 months. I don't know. I don't remember when NAL Stage 1 started, but it goes back quite a ways. And yeah, so I think I'm gonna have to take Rexton out just on the fact that he has the super hot performance and then like pretty good before that. But if he does something like this again, I think it's gonna be clear that he's top 5. But for now, I think he has to prove himself one more time. He needs one more, and it doesn't even have to be this good. Like if it's just 1.1 something or 1.2, he'll probably be up here. But for now, I think I'm gonna have to take him out. So I need to eliminate 2 more? Yeah. I think Hyper's got to be in there. Yeah, like just he's what, the 6th highest on the average here, but all positive ratings, and that's for like perpetuity. I mean, maybe he had a bad season somewhere, but he's just been renowned for years as one of the very best fraggers in North America, and probably the best at some points. Maybe not the best anymore, but always just absolutely just feared. Like incredible gameplay coming out from Hyper at all times. I think I'm gonna have to put him in there. So now, I mean, I could just make it easy and just take these 2 out. God, Bosco is the obvious, seems like the obvious next one to cut. I guess I'll take him out. Like he's got to be top 10 players, but top 5, I don't. It's just so hard to say. Like just this performance on the roles that he plays, like has played hard support and flank watch for these seasons. And like just like smoke and whatever other thing on defense. It's incredible. So maybe this is even a mistake, but I'm gonna do it. And now I think, in terms of consistency, I mean, Fultz and Bolo both have put up 2 negative ratings, and Iconic has not put up a negative rating. But again, he didn't play at either of the international events, which probably would be bringing down his rating if he had. What to do? I think Fultz is going in here because I'm not sure what Space Station's IGLing situation is now. Like it might be Fultz hot and cold, or it could be anyone on that team IGL. Like I actually don't know. Couldn't tell you. They all seem like pretty vocal players, except for maybe Thinking Nade, but I mean, not that I would really know, or maybe not Rampy, but I think Fultz did IGL here in Stage 1 after when they subbed in Luke and after Canadian left. Pretty sure he IGL'd here, and then this was just kind of bad for SSG, and then this was also sort of bad for SSG. God, I don't know. Like maybe this is wrong. I'm gonna put him in there though. Like the fact that he was IGLing, he's been such a killer for such a long time. And then so does Bolo make it or not? So Stage 2 he does well. Stage 1, yeah, I think I'm gonna put Bolo and take out Iconic. But if he'd done similarly well to these 2 at either of these, if he'd been at either of these events, SI or Mexico Major, and done fairly well, he'd probably be in there. If he'd put up above the 1.14, bring up his rating, probably, yeah, he'd be in there. And I think one more really good season, and of course depending on what other players in the league do, but I think one more really good season, and he's probably gonna be top 5. He's definitely absolutely has the potential. Anyone on this list has the potential to make top 5, but some players need probably more than one big performance. Like I don't think Achieved or Eclipse or I don't know, or like DP5. Some players on here would need probably multiple pretty good performances, but the players towards the top that I've just recently eliminated, I think what, actually I just lost my train of thought. The players that I just eliminated, I think could with one more really good performance make their way into the top 5. But for now, I'm gonna go with this. I think this is undisputable. Like they're just statistically the top 2, and yeah, I don't think that's debatable. And I think Iconic or Jane, I know another really good performance, and especially one at international play would be good. Like if they can do really well in Stage 3 and then qualify for that major, and then also do fairly well at the major, they have a good shot. Rampy, very close as well. Bosco, like maybe he's even top 5. Maybe I'm just not giving him the additional credit he deserves playing the role he plays. But for now, I'm going to go, and I mean, I guess just in this order, I don't know. But certainly 1 and 2, Otton, Golden Grixer, and then Hyper, Bolts, Bolo. Yeah, that's what I'm going to go with. Signing off.